Hi, I'm Michelle Adebato. The North Ward Center is committed to educating the public about the importance of community programs that give all New Jersey residents a chance for a better life. That's why we're proud to support the important educational programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation.
Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, PSE&G, committed to improving New Jersey's economy and strengthening its communities. New Jersey State Nurses Association and the Institute for Nursing. Partners for Health Foundation, partnering to make our communities healthier, better places to live. Choose New Jersey. Our mission is attracting companies to the Garden State. The North Ward Center. And by Verizon. Promotional support provided by Commerce Magazine and by New Jersey Family Magazine and njfamily.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Adebato. It's my honor and pleasure to have back once again here in public broadcasting Simeon Schindelman, who is the CEO of Brighton Health Plan Solutions. Good to see you, Simeon.
Thank you, Steve. It's great to be here again.
You've been in the health insurance, health care industry for a few years?
More than 30. More than 30.
Biggest changes going on right now, other than, or is it, frankly, as we do this program in mid-July 2017, is it, hey, what's going to happen in Washington? Or is there something else going on?
This is, in my 30-plus years in the healthcare business, health insurance business, absolutely the time of the greatest change I've ever seen. And some of it has to do with Washington, but I would tell you most of it is driven by people who deliver healthcare, people who buy healthcare, people who receive services from healthcare. It's happening out in the community.
You mean market forces?
Market forces are beginning to take shape and have influence in ways they didn't have 10 or 20 years ago.
Consumer expectations / demands today versus 10, 15 years ago?
Well, consumers expect a lot more today in healthcare as they do, I would say, across almost anything they do in their lives. Healthcare has been difficult. It's been opaque, and therefore...
Opaque?
Opaque. It's been difficult for consumers to understand differentiation between healthcare providers, between health plans, if they get their coverage, say, through an employer. And consumers are looking for the same kind of cost and quality information they get in other marketplaces around the country.
And your organization, Brighton Health Plan Solutions, trying to deal with that via an initiative called CREATE.
CREATE is a brand or a product within Brighton Health Plan Solutions. Brighton Health Plan Solutions is a business that's been around for a long time. It has 3 main products, and 2 of them are names you know, and we serve clients across the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area. One of the names is MagnaCare. Second one is Brighton Casualty Solutions. And we've just begun to get into the market with a new brand, a new product called CREATE.
What is it?
CREATE serves group health plans. And when I think of groups, I think of employer-sponsored health plans. I think of health plans that are from Taft-Hartley funds. We think of unionized organizations. CREATE serves all of them. And fundamentally, the business thesis of CREATE is something I don't think you'd see from a health plan or a health carrier anywhere else, which is we believe in the alignment of the interests of all the parties in the healthcare system. And we work incredibly hard to align the interests of the patient, the family, the healthcare providers, doctors and hospitals, and the people who pay for care. That's the employer or the union or the Taft-Hartley fund.
How challenging it is for us? We're a small, not-for-profit, but highly entrepreneurial production company, or we wouldn't be on the air right now. We have to figure those things out. We have to figure out how do we deal with the health insurance for our people. And we're always struggling, like, how much do you contribute? How much do you ask people to contribute? What's the economic model that makes sense? What's the insurance plan that covers the most for them and their families? How do we know that as CEOs, as people who are running organizations? It's not our expertise.
We think at our company there are 2 important components to that, maybe more, but certainly 2 that we highlight on. One is it's important for organizations like yours, for any kind of group buyer, where it's not their expertise, and it's rarely the expertise is to have an advisor. And we work closely with, and we have a lot of faith in, the consultants, the advisors, the agents and brokers who specialize in making recommendations and giving advice. That's, of course, very important. The second element is we encourage employer-sponsored, Taft-Hartley Fund-sponsored,
Explain the Taft-Hartley thing, because you're actually making reference to, Taft-Hartley, which was legislation passed a while ago on the federal government that changed what?
It changed the way that union-sponsored, unionized plan participants can be collected together to have a single program. It is a little bit complicated, but it means that a union can span multiple employers. And that's kind of that's maybe an arcane detail, but you could have, for example, electrical workers in a single health plan, but they may work for many different employers at many different jobs.
And Taft-Hartley allowed for that.
Taft-Hartley allowed for that, and we're a pretty big player in that business across New York and New Jersey.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Simeon. The most common mistakes you think most consumers/organizations, businesses make when it comes to health insurance?
There are two. One is for the employer or the plan sponsor, and that is not giving enough power to the consumer. Consumers need power, the decision making. We need to make sure that consumers have the kind of information they need to understand cost, to understand quality, to make very carefully thought out decisions on who they seek care from.
What should they be asking? What should be specific, because it helps people right now. Some questions that should be asked.
Consumers should ask about quality information. What can you tell me? What can you tell me about why I should go to that doctor? Why should I go to that hospital? Or ask them directly. The forces, the market forces that are available elsewhere in the economy should also be available in the healthcare business. When I talk about market forces, when I think about marketplaces across the country, I think of forces that drive cost down and quality up. And a well-armed, knowledgeable consumer will help make that happen in healthcare as well.
I know it's dangerous to do this, Simeon, but you and I have had offline conversations about a whole range of things, but one of them is the future of healthcare. Do you have any sense as to the next 5 years in health insurance, healthcare, and where we may be going? Or is that largely also driven by Washington and the Trump administration?
We tend to think, Steve, that it's not going to be driven as much by Washington, but again, by market forces beginning to take hold. And this is a big part of what we do, but it's also how we look at the healthcare economy as a whole. More knowledgeable consumers, armed with greater amounts of information, expecting market forces to operate, cost down, quality up. I make well understood and carefully thought out decisions as a consumer. That will drive change in healthcare. I talk very frequently about the application of market forces. That can bring costs down, that can bring quality up, and that can make sure that the most effective healthcare providers are the most successful. And I think that's what we want.
Final question. Everything you just described does require a degree of engagement, education, and commitment on the part of consumers to just be more involved, as opposed to, I don't know what's going on, I turned it over to my broker or my... You can't do that anymore.
You can't do that anymore. And to directly address that, one of the areas that we think about that's very important is that consumers need to make decisions ahead of when crisis strikes. People need to be researching and thinking before they don't have the time to do it. And in our business, Create, one of the tools we bring, we think the very important tools, is we help people do that in advance of when the pressure is on and it may be more difficult to make a well thought out, carefully reasoned decision.
Consumer education more important than ever before. Simeon Schindelman, CEO of Brighton Health Solutions, this new initiative called Create. Check them out, check it out. It's an important conversation because could be one of the most important decisions you make for you and your family. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you, Steve.
Good to see you. Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
To watch more Caucus New Jersey, find us online and follow us on social media.
We are pleased to welcome two very special people. First, Dr. Charles Vialotti, who is Medical Director, Villa Marie Claire Residential Hospice at Holy Name Medical Center, and also Terrie O'Conner, who is Advisory Board Member at Villa Marie Claire. Good to have you both with us.
We're glad to be here.
Doctor, someone asks, what is Villa Marie Claire? I know our good friend Mike Marin, the CEO up there, has told us offline, but what is it?
Villa Marie Claire is officially just a residential hospice, but what it really is an opportunity to embrace residents and their families in a unit of care where we can provide the resident with life with dignity and the family with the support and the nurturing and the love that they need to help them through this very difficult phase of their loved one's life.
Terrie, how'd you get involved in this, Terrie?
Well, actually, I have to say Mike Marin got me involved. Mike called and asked if I would get involved when they were doing the initial kind of plans for opening the Villa Marie Claire as a hospice. I was kind of local, and it was being, changed to this new mission. And I have to say I was so impressed, and he introduced me to Charlie. And that was the beginning of a friendship that has been going on now for 7 or 8 years.
But a personal connection.
A personal connection, but through Mike Marin. And I believe that my own personal experience with the Villa was when my sister was there. And she had been fighting ovarian cancer for 10 years. And she was at a hospice in the city. She and her children and husband were reluctant to move her. And I said, please, why don't you try bringing her to the Villa? She'd be at home in New Jersey. And Margaret was there with you and me and all the family for about a week before she passed away. And it was a wonderful experience for her and for all of her family, her mom. And so I have a personal experience with the Villa. I've had many friends who have gone there. I remember a friend of mine who's Jewish. And because the Villa Marie Claire had been part of Holy Name and a Catholic organization for so long, she called me and said, I understand, I've heard very good things about the Villa, but my mom is Jewish, and I don't know whether it's something that we could do for her, but she needs hospice. And I said, I'm sure there's no problem with you getting into the Villa, and it has nothing to do with being Jewish. It's open to everybody. She said, but she has a cat. And she wants to bring her cat. I mean, it's just such an amazing thing. So she brought her mother to the Villa with her cat. The cat came, and the family was able to be together. And that's just one sort of little story. There's so many that Charlie has.
So let me ask you this. For so many people who don't know what it is, what it could be, and say, I mean, in my own family, I've talked about this, and it's always difficult because my dad's hasn't been well for a long time. Some wonderful people from the hospice are treating him right now, but not at a place, if you will. But here's my point. What about for many, my family and others, who say, in the home? But I told you there's some limitations there, as good as it is. What's the difference?
Well, the difference is enormous. At home, you still maintain the role of caregiver. You're still participating in the care of that person, even though the hospice team will come in a few hours a day and give you some assistance, check on your medications, and it's very helpful, it's very good. But the rest of the day, the other 18 or 20 or 22 hours a day, you are the caregiver. So your normal relationship between husband and wife or father and son is lost.
Do you treat the entire family?
You treat the entire family.
How do you do that, Doctor?
We embrace them all, we get to know them all, we welcome them. We educate them on where in life's journey we are, but we try to help them focus on the value of these last few days or weeks or months. We try to encourage communication, which they'll remember. We do legacy work, where our residents can dictate letters and do dictations or even videos for their loved ones to cherish and treasure in the future.
Did you actually spend the holidays, Christmas with the family because you didn't want them to be alone?
Yes.
At Villa Marie?
I frequently spent holidays, Thanksgiving, and also for the holidays at Villa, we have family dinners for everyone who's in residence, which is a wonderful experience. But I go to their homes. I help them transition through that first difficult holiday if they welcome me. And it makes such a difference.
Jump in.
Well, Charlie is the heart of the Villa. I mean,
you live there.
I live there.
Charlie lives there.
I've been living there 5.5 years.
Charlie and I have become good friends, as I said, and I'll occasionally, give a call and say, "Why don't you come over?" He said, "Well, I can come over if I am expecting several admissions tonight, if I can." His commitment is enormous, but the relationship he has with the families and the people that are there. And as he often says to me, it's about living. It's not about dying.
What
because
do you mean? People are
devil's
advocate. People are going there
People
to
are
die.
there, and they may be there for a day. They may be there for 2 weeks, and some people are there for even an extended months and months at a time.
But it's about life?
But
about life.
it's about making the quality of their life that they are still living the best quality it can be, and be able to embrace their families, their friends, and to be in an environment that feels like and is like home. And families can stay at the villa.
Yes.
There are rooms where they can stay. There are kitchens, there are dining rooms, there's a swimming pool. Grandkids and kids can swim.
Where did the idea for this come from?
From Mike.
From Mike. By the way, we mentioned Mike Maron. Mike and I went to on a, I don't want to call it a trade mission because we weren't going to buy anything or do anything. It was to Israel with a good friend, Angelica Berry, and it was about many years ago. And he started talking about this concept.
Yes.
We were going there on a cultural mission, and he started saying, "Wait a minute, let's talk. We should talk a little bit about how people are treated at the end of life, and this is what came from it."
Right. You know, we are spending most of our healthcare dollars at the end of life for treatments that have become futile, toxic, ineffective, isolating. People die in intensive care units, often as a complication of the treatment they're getting. If we refocus from disease-oriented treatment to person-oriented treatment, comfort treatment.
But on the personal side, one more thing. Our producers have told us that there was a mother and a son that reconciled right before she passed. Give me that details.
Very briefly, there was a man there at the villa, and his wife and their son had been estranged for 20 years.
All too common a story.
There had been no communication. When mother and son would go in the room to visit the dad, the other one would leave without any acknowledgement.
At the end?
At the end. I was sitting outside with the son. I walked in. The mother was angry that I spent too much time with her son. She asked me if I would let her play Gershwin. She started to play the piano and started to sing. About 20 minutes later, the son walked into the library where his mother was playing the piano. She said, "I'm going to sing and play your favorite song, Over the Rainbow." He said, "That's not my favorite song anymore." She
Still
said,
going on.
"I don't care." She played it and sang it. During the song, he moved next to her on the piano bench, sang along with her. And after they were finished, we went up into her husband's room, his father's room. He looked at them, smiled, and stopped breathing.
Amazing story.
His job was over.
How much do you love what you do?
It has given me new purpose, new reason. I love every minute of what I do.
It genuinely does. And the warmth and feelings people have about the villa are also connected, I think, to Charlie's love and care that he gives to so many people there, and so naturally. And I would say the humanity and the humor and the, obviously the care to make people comfortable are all
In the most difficult of circumstances.
wrapped
the
together.
worst time in their lives. The worst time in their lives. We try to make it not the worst time.
Doctor and Terrie, we thank you, not just for being here in public broadcasting and FiOS and everywhere else we're seen, but actually more importantly for the work you do every day for so many families.
Thank you.
Who are going through this very difficult but frankly unavoidable process. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having
Wonderful
us.
opportunity.
We'll be right back right after this. Thank you very much.
To see more Caucus New Jersey with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We're pleased to welcome Chelsea Sikora, graduate assistant for W.I.L.D, W-I-L-D, Women in Leadership Development at Georgian Court University. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you today?
Doing great. Have you always had this positive, upbeat attitude in all seriousness?
I think so.
Where does it come from?
I don't know. I think I've always just kind of been a goofy kid. I like to smile. I like to make other people comfortable. So
That's a good skill. That's actually a leadership skill.
Oh,
It's
well,
interesting. And in that context of this, W.I.L.D, Women in Leadership Development, what is it and why does it matter?
Well, Women in Leadership Development is a program through Georgian Court University, and it focuses on equipping young college women with the skills that they need to survive outside of Georgian Court, to enable them to be confident leaders, but also to be successful in their chosen careers.
How'd you get into this?
Well, I was a member of it. My freshman year, I walked onto Georgian Court campus, a nervous, little freshman, not quite knowing what I was going to do, what it meant to be in college, and I met the most incredible person, and her name was Carissa Merkel.
What's her name?
Carissa Merkel.
Go ahead.
And she was my first year seminar orientation leader. So she was an assistant in the first class that I had in college, and she was so incredible. She was just a ray of sunshine.
Was she a mentor?
She was, and she was actually a mentor in the W.I.L.D program. And talking to her, you could just feel the confidence radiating off of her. And I wanted to be like that. And I didn't know where my path was going to take me, but if that was the end result, I knew I wanted to be a part of W.I.L.D.
So you become a part of this organization. What do they teach you?
Well, some of the things that you learn about in W.I.L.D are to learn more about who you are, because you can't lead others if you don't have an understanding of your own values and what it is that your strengths are. So a lot of your first year and second year in the program is that personal reflection and development. And then your third year and fourth year, it's really highly focused on preparing you for a career. So you're equipped with skills to go into a job interview, to successfully navigate the different aspects of career building, from writing a resume to pitching yourself, and to be able to advocate for yourself and your strengths and who you are.
So, I mean, as a student of leadership who's written extensively about it, teaches in the field, I'm fascinated by the concept that some people believe in. You can't teach leadership. You're either born a leader or you're not. I don't buy it, do you?
Absolutely not.
Talk about it.
Well, I think that a lot of people don't see leadership potential within themselves. I think
Did
it's
you?
Absolutely not.
Growing up as a kid, you did not say, I'm a leader, I'm a natural born leader.
No.
You were not one of those kids organizing other kids, being the one. Not you.
No.
And by the way, that's not the only definition of leadership, but go ahead.
I think that every one of us has a potential for leadership. I think every one of us has something inside us that says, I have a voice, I have something worth saying, I have this experience, this unique constellation that makes me who I am, and no matter who you are, no matter what you have to say, I think that that's important. I think that being able to lead others is a skill that everyone has inside them.
So what I'm curious about is what you see for yourself as a leader moving forward and the contribution you want to make to others.
Well, my goal has always been to make an impact on the world. That might seem broad and it might seem ambitious, but I always wanted to leave the world better than it was when I first came into it. So my goal is to finish my master's in clinical mental health counseling, to become an amazing counselor, and then to go on to my PhD in counselor education and supervision, and to teach other people how to help people. Because if I can help probably 200 people in my lifetime, that's great. If I can teach counselors how to help other people, imagine how many people they can help. So,
do you think, Chelsea, you would be saying this to me right now, be in the studio right now, see yourself the way you do right now if it had not been for this W.I.L.D program?
I mean, I can't say for sure, but I don't think so.
How much did it help?
I think that W.I.L.D enabled me to find my voice, and it enabled me to do things that I had never thought that I would do. I never would have dreamed that I would have gone on to be a part of a leadership organization, and then to run that leadership organization, to stand up in front of a room full of people at a national conference and present research. I certainly don't think I would be sitting here on television and speaking with you about it if I hadn't been in W.I.L.D. It's helped me tremendously, both personally and professionally.
What's the greatest leadership lesson you've learned to date?
I think just recognizing that I could be a leader. I think it all stems from self-awareness. The the first lesson of leadership is that you can be one.
You can be one, and believing you can be one.
Absolutely. I think that's where it starts.
And finally, some others will say, I'm not a leader, I can't be a leader. You say?
I think that a lot of people tell themselves, I can't do something. I think we're held back by our fear of failure.
Yep.
And if we all just started to just open the door and walk through and see what's on the other side, rather than wondering, oh, what is it? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not successful enough? If we just stopped wondering that and just did
We'll
it.
keep talking off the air. You are a leader, though.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by the New Jersey Education Association, PSE&G, New Jersey State Nurses Association, and the Institute for Nursing. Partners for Health Foundation, Choose New Jersey, the Northward Center, and by Verizon. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.
Home to some of the world's leading food companies, New Jersey has a rich history in the food industry. Today, New Jersey has a thriving $100 billion food and agriculture sector that's growing every day. We're home to thousands of food manufacturers, research facilities, and distribution centers. Food companies benefit from our strategic location, affordable space, and talented workforce. Whether you make it, bake it, or innovate it, New Jersey is the place to be. To learn more, visit choosenj.com.